In our previous lesson, we learned that creative nonfiction stories depict real-life places, events, people, and experiences. It always has a mixed flavor of technique and ideas. Now talking about technique, creative nonfiction writers used to tell a story in a very creative and artistic manner. This means that the story has a certain elements such as descriptive imagery, setting, plot, conflict, characters, which I made a separate video for you guys. Check the link on our description box, and other literary devices. Now, what do we mean when we say literary devices? These are actually tools or technique that writers use so that they would be able to express and enhance their ideas in writing. Now, let's have the epigraph. This is a literary device that is in the form of a poem quotation or a sentence that is usually placed at the beginning of a literary piece. It can also serve unto different purposes, such it can be used as a summary, introduction, example, or even an association with some famous literary work, so as is to draw a comparison or to generate a specific content for the piece. Now, this is the question that usually comes to our mind, that why is an epigraph is always put at the beginning? This is because the writer can give a preview of his notions and inspiration through an epigraph. This is also set as a clue to the readers what they are reading about. And it's just also an amazing thing that we can read an epigraph at the beginning so that we can turn it to the last page. We will be able to reflect on everything that we have just read. Now let's take a look at the given examples. This is an epigraph in Nick Joaquin's A Portrait of the Artist as a Filipino. This is the story focuses on family conflict and how Filipino identity relates to its cultural character upon the arrival of the contemporary and Western ideals. The story starts with this epigraph, so take a look at this. How about in custom and in ceremony or innocence and beauty born? Now let's take a look at the second example. This is an epigraph taken by The Godfather. This is written by Maria Puzo, and it starts with this: behind every great fortune there is a crime. This is actually a translated quotation from Honora de Balzac given in The Godfather. This is a famous novel by Maria Puzo. The epigraph given in this novel presents the true picture of a gangster who earns a lot of wealth and wields much control over the lives of others. The Godfather is a true reflection of what its epigraph suggests. Now, let's talk about euphemism. This is a figurative language that is usually used to replace phrases or words that is considered as rude or impolite. This is a figurative language that is used to replace phrases or words related to a concept that is considered as rude or impolite. The reason for this is for the sake of impoliteness, discretion, or any other impolite communication. Now let's take a look at the given example. Before I go, I want to see all my siblings for the last time. Take a look at this given example. The phrase I go in the sentence is used as euphemism to replace the idea of death, before I die. Next example. I will sell my pre-loved clothes tomorrow. They are good as new. If you will observe in this sentence, pre-love's clothes, the euphemistic expression pre-love is used instead of using the word second-hand or used clothes. Here are some additional examples of euphemism. Instead of saying broke, we can use a euphemistic expression of negative cash flow. Instead of saying dead, we can use dearly departed. Instead of saying being fired from a job, we can say that taking an early retirement. Instead of saying a bald, we can say a euphemistic expression, a little thin on top. Instead of saying stupid, right? We can say, to become more polite to our expression, we can say mentally challenged. Now let's move to flashbacks. These are interruptions that the writer usually use or do to insert past events in order to create or provide backgrounds or a concept to a present narrative or a story. So by using flashbacks, writers allow the readers to gain insight into characters' motivation. They can provide a background to a current conflict. Now, the use of the flashback is to give information to the readers about the character's background and to give them an idea about the character's motive or reason of doing certain things later in the story. Now, let's move on to foreshadowing. Foreshadowing is a literary device that writers utilize or use as a means to indicate or give a hint to the reader something that is to follow or appear later in the story. It gives the readers a hint of something that is going to happen without revealing the story or spoiling the suspense. So, foreshadowing is used to suggest the upcoming outcome in the story. Now, metaphor is the most commonly used literary devices, and this is used to compare two unlike things. This is direct comparison. So now let's take a look at a given example. He was a lion on the battlefield. This sentence suggests that Henry fought so valiantly and bravely that he embodied all the personality traits that we attribute to the animal called lion. This sentence implies immediately that Henry was courageous, brave, and fearless, much like the king of the jungle. Now let's take a look at the second example here. Frontliners in the time of pandemic are the modern superheroes of the world who deserve an eternal gratitude. This metaphorical expression, frontliners are the superheroes. As you can observe, frontliners and superheroes are directly compared. This conveys that the people who do their duty during the pandemic, such as the doctors, nurses, police officers, and others, are the people who save lives, as what the superheroes do in movies. So frontliners and superheroes are compared by perceiving them what they have the same qualities. Now, the simile is similar to metaphor, but they are different in using of like or as. So unlike in metaphor, this is direct comparison. Unlike in simile, is used or marked by the use of like or as. Take a look at this example. His intelligence is as sharp as the butcher's knife. Intelligence and butcher's knife are two unlike things, which are being compared with the connector of as. These words are used to describe how smart the person is. Next example. My love for you is like a mountain, towering and unchanging. So love and mountain are being compared to each other. Mountains' characteristic are also mentioned to tell or express how much I love the person. Next one is personification, attaching human traits and characteristics with inanimate objects, animals, and phenomena. So let's take a look at the given example. The poles of the fence sway to the rhythm of the wind. The sentence is personifying the pole by stating that it can sway as what human can do. Poles are long pieces of wood, metal, or other material which remain in static position, which means it is an inanimate object. It is not moving, thus it cannot sway. Therefore, when we talk about personification, we put a human traits or characteristic with the inanimate object, phenomena, or animals. Now that's the end of our video. Now I want you to create your own sentence using the literary devices that we have discussed today or in this video. I want you to put it in the comment box. So be creative. So thank you for watching. See you on our next lesson. Bye!